can't anymore find any property within a 10-kilometer radius Cebu. That's really for kana, ideal for housing. Wala na for such market. And the cost of acquisition is also very high. So acquisition cost is one issue.
Because of the appreciation value of the
Properties, yes. Which means acquisition cost is going to affect prices of houses if you're going to develop a property within the city. So definitely if your acquisition cost is high, then the house would eventually be also on the high side. Okay, it's the acquisition alone is already very expensive. But if you want to rent because you live or you work in this you work in the city, then that would be ideal. And you don't have you can't afford to buy a house, then renting would be the most practical thing to do. And if you can afford, then it would be good to also buy. But you know, if you're budget conscious, then renting would be good. Now, buying a house in the city is, even at this time, it's really very expensive. Okay.
Like the ratio.
Well, it also depends on the type of property, the type of subdivision that you have to buy. So they're also very expensive. If you talk about renting, then that would be good, especially if you're not going to really work there for a very long time. If you're just a contractual employee, then you can rent. And if you're going to really rent for long, then somehow you really have to weigh your cost of acquisition and your cost of rental. Let's say, for example, if you want to rent for the next 15 years, if your amortization is more or less, or if your rental is more or less the same with your amortization, then buying would be very ideal. So it all really depends on how you are going to see yourself in terms of the value of the property that you're going to either rent or to acquire. So there are actually different sides to both choices. Like if you want to rent, it could be practical if it's short. Like siguro the longest that you are going to stay there should be the longest should be 3 or 4 years. So if you're buying the property because you want to stay longer, then let's say, for example, if you're thinking of renting the property for 10 years, then might as well
Get an old house.
get a house, a new house.